pleasure to be with you this evening to offer some high-level comments on the access of Latinx persons to higher education. We can have a discussion of what Latinx means after the session, but it means all the Latino people and Latina people that we usually, or Hispanics. Okay, so improving the access of Latinx people to higher education is a profound social issue. It's not just a matter of being able to improve access to academic coursework in preparation for college and for higher education. It involves thinking more deeply about societal change that surrounds changing demographics in the United States and world, and issues that surround being an active participant in society and making for social change in a way that acknowledges some of the themes that are reflected on the screen on the left side of the panel. So we're going to take a little tour to be able to examine what's going to happen in the United States in terms of the demographic changes that are occurring. You see on the screen to the left the time track projection of changes in the United States ethnic racial population between 2015 and 2050. And as you can see very clearly in terms of the slopes of the lines that are there, there is a rapid increase during this time period of the Latinx or Hispanic population in the United States, roughly doubling as compared to what is occurring with the white non-Latinx population, which there is a noticeable decline from 2015 towards 2055. This is reflective of the higher fertility rates of Latinx people, but also changes in the aging composition of the population. And Latinx persons will also decline following 2050. So the next matter to consider in terms of understanding what's before us is the gap in higher education attainment rates that are shown between Latinx or Hispanic people and other more advantaged groups, whites and Asians, in terms of receipt of a bachelor's degree and higher. And you can see that there's a very noticeable gap between the Latinx or Hispanic higher education rate and those of whites and non-Hispanics and Asians. So there are implications to this. And those implications are made quite evident in terms of economic issues by the chart that you see on the left. The current, even taking into account a slowdown in immigration rates from Latin America, there still is a very large growth rate in the workforce age Latinx population between 2010 and 2050, roughly doubling from 15 to 30% of the workforce. And you also see in red for the white non-Hispanic populations, a decline in the workforce presence of this part of the population from 66% to 45%. Now I think you're able to connect the dots. You're saying lower higher education access rates, higher presence in the workforce economy, at the same time that we are living in the age of learning and the knowledge society, where the skill sets that people need in order to be able to survive and contribute to economies is creating increased emphasis on the ability to be able to be productive in areas that require advanced higher education. So what do we do about this? Now, and how do we think about this in terms of perspectives that are informed by what we're learning from research in the learning sciences and from advances in social cultural theories that inform thinking about learning. And you've heard the term deep learning. Deep learning can mean machines learning deeply by using statistical algorithms, but human deep learning is a more complex matter. It involves understanding the kinds of skill sets that are reflected on the left part of the chart that you're seeing. It means understanding how learning is produced socially, how it involves invention of ideas, how it involves collaboration with others, and ability to be able to develop skill sets that are not only attuned to the formal demands of operating technology, computers, and contributing to STEAM, but also being able to understand society itself and how it's changing. So I'm going to give you an example of one such an initiative that's based in the UC system in 8 of the 10 campuses, and it has international base, that is known as University Community Links. This program is a very interesting program because it's based on some of the skill sets discussed that involve understanding deep learning and understand construction of learning, at the same time as building agency and interest in persons from higher education underrepresented backgrounds and being involved in society. And in UC Links, attention is given to faculty working with in collaboration with local community agencies in our current community. Those agencies include the St. George Youth Center in Isla Vista, and also the Boys and Girls Club in Goleta. But there are other similar efforts that are involved in this. And I should mention that the UC Links project that I'm mentioning is also a collaboration with Professor Betsy Brenner, who's here, and also Diana Arya has an additional UC Links node. And so what happens here is that the research, teaching, and service missions are united in terms of working with community youths who are going to be at risk for attaining advanced higher education. So, but this teamwork is more deep. It also involves undergraduates and graduate students. Undergraduate students participate in a practicum course that introduces them to current theories of learning and critical pedagogy and other advances in research to be able to understand better how to engage young people in learning and a desire to learn and a desire to contribute to society and through participation in its institutions. But it also involves graduate students. And this is a very, another additional part of the teamwork that's involved, because graduate students also as team partners are able to connect their research in their graduate education to becoming partners in assisting local youths to be able to learn about complex forms of learning and invention that are taking advantage of the latest developments. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jasmine. So I talk the talk, Jasmine walks the talk. Thank you.